1994 was such an amazing year for hip-hop albums. Just look at some of these amazing albums all turned 30 years old this year. In today's video, I'm going to be choosing one track from some of what I consider the best albums of the year and showcasing the samples that were used to create them. Click the first link in description or pinned comment to download any of my background beats that are playing throughout, apart from the one playing now that I've only just made. So let's have a check of the first track.
Crackhead stalking, loud mouses talking, ho. Check out the story yesterday when I was walking.
What a debut album Illmatic was, working with some of the best producers at the time, including Q-Tip, Pete Rock, DJ Premier and Large Professor. Considered by many to be one of the best hip-hop albums ever made, not just from the 90s. It's really stood the test of time well and helped propel Nas into becoming a worldwide star. So let's see what's next up on the list. Late great Coolio. He grew up in Compton, California and originally went by the name Coolio Iglesias. Before becoming a professional rapper, he worked as a volunteer fireman at LAX. He was also part of WC and the Mad Circle before concentrating on his solo career. The following year in 1995, he went on to create one of the most successful rap songs of all time with Gangsta's Paradise. Let's see what the next track is.
But I just can't quit because one of these homies Biggie got to creep with.
Another amazing debut album there from Biggie. It was also the very first album release for Bad Boy Records. Again, there were some of the best producers in the game working on it, including Easy Mo B, DJ Premier, Lord Finesse and Poke from Poke and Tone. Big Poppa was a platinum selling single and was #1 on the US rap chart. Let's see what's next on the list.
It's going down from out of town off the wicked streets of New York trouble. Me and my man mapped the plan to make a hefty bundle.
That was the second and final album by Pete Rock and CL Smooth before they went their separate ways. I Get Physical wasn't one of the 3 singles from the album, but it's a track I really like. The sample taken from George Benson is someone who's been sampled a lot of times in hip hop, probably most famously by Common. Let's have a listen to a Common track, taking a sample from someone else though.
Come on y'all, get live, get down. Common sense is in your town.
I've mentioned this on other videos, but notice his original name was Common Sense. He had to change it after a reggae group with the same name threatened court action. The reissues of the album just show the name Common. The sample taken from Ahmad Jamal, one of my favourite jazz musicians ever, who's been sampled so many different times in hip hop. Definitely worth listening to his albums. Let's check who's next on the list.
I didn't mean to, but when you fiend, you do strange things for the boot. It ain't my fault that your girl got caught. It ain't my fault that your girl got caught.
Casual is from Oakland, California, and he's part of the Hieroglyphics crew, along with Del, Souls of Mischief, Domino, Pep Love, and Torre. J-Biz and Extra Prolific both used to be part of them too. Fear itself was Casual's debut album. It did come out as a promo in 1993, but was officially released in 1994. There's some great tracks and samples used throughout, well worth a listen. Let's see who's next up.
Take this for example, young brothers want rap, cause in the life they're living, you can't have step.
Starr, one of my all-time favourite hip-hop groups that I got to see live a long time ago with Big Sugar's support. Lots of great jazz samples used throughout the album, following on from the previous 3 releases. Mass Appeal is probably the best known track from that album. Let's hear who's next up.
When I'm in New York,
album sometimes incorrectly gets referred to as Street Level, as there's a Subway sign on the front cover. It's just part of the album artwork, and the album is simply called the Beatnuts. It was the debut album, and the track was remixed on the same album under the name Yeah, You Got Props. Another great debut album. Let's see who's next up.
My rap's too severe, kicking mad flavor in you.
The main sample for that will never be found. Easy Mo B has said it's just one short sound that he changed the pitch of and played it into his sampler. The album is another debut, just showing what a great year 1994 was for hip hop. He went on to release another album in 1997, and then 20 years later in 2017, the year before he passed away. Let's check the next track. Great production there by the RZA, taking that easy listening original and flipping it into a great hip hop beat. Method Man was the first member of the Wu-Tang Clan to release a solo album. He took his name from the Kung Fu film, also called Method Man. The name tical actually stands for taking into consideration all lives. The RZA produced the entire album, with a few tracks having co-producers on them too. Let's see who's next up. That was from Redman's second album after his debut in 1992. The sample was taken from the amazing Bob James, who's one of the most sampled musicians ever. His most sampled track is Notorious, taken from his debut album from 1974. Redman always used his real name of Reggie Noble on his production credits. Let's see who's next up on the list. That sample is fairly low down in the mix, so it's easy to miss it. It's a very popular track for sampling and has been used so many different times. The OutKast album is another example of a debut album on this list, and it went on to sell over 1 million copies in the US, firmly putting Southern hip hop on the map at the height of the East Coast West Coast rivalry. Let's check out another one.
That's what I'm called on the street. Could not been cheap, but really it be, you see.
What a sample that is. The original track is almost 12 minutes long, and that one small piano part has been taken to make a loop. It's another debut album on the list, and was entirely produced by DJ Premier, with Jeru as a co-producer. Many consider it to be Jeru's best work, who got his first break featuring on I'm the Man by Gang Starr in 1992. Let's see what the next track is. Another great track there, using two different samples to make a loop. It was the second album after the debut in 1991. They ended up doing one more before going their separate ways. There's many more great hip hop albums turning 30 years old this year, but for this video, that's all I'm going to include. Drop a comment with your thoughts, and thanks for watching.